friends, it's Lisa, and welcome to what is probably one of my favorite videos to film every single year, and that's my yearly favorites. We're going to be chatting about all of the things I was loving in 2023. This is always such a fun video for me to film every year because most of this channel, mostly what I'm talking about is books, and of course I do a whole video at the end of every year talking about my favorite books of the year, but this is kind of an opportunity for me to talk about basically everything else that I love, all of my other interests. It's just a place for me to talk about all of those things and what I was loving throughout the whole year. So we have a variety of things that we're going to cover in this video. We've got music, we've got TV shows, movies, some makeup, general lifestyle things, events, just a bunch of things that I was loving throughout the year. We're going to chat about them and I'm very excited. But before we get into talking about my favorites of the year, I want to shout out another one of my favorite things just in general, and that's the sponsor of the video, which is Ana Luisa. So Ana Luisa is a high quality jewelry brand, but at the fraction of the price of other luxurious jewelry brands. They have pieces starting at just $39, but their quality is incredible. I have been working with Ana Luisa for a few years now, and so I've had some of these pieces for quite some time. I've put some of these pieces through the ringer. I've worn them quite a bit. Basically, if I'm wearing jewelry, it's Ana Luisa, but I wear it constantly, and all of these pieces have held up so well, and they all look brand new, even the ones that I've had for a couple of years and wear all the time. I also get a lot of compliments on their jewelry whenever I wear it. I also have been able to gift some jewelry to people in the past that they have also loved, which of course is very fitting for this time of year with all of the holidays and just the festive season. You're probably looking for some good gift ideas, and Ana Luisa definitely has some good options. Something that I love about them is that they have such a variety of pieces on their website. They have some more colorful, funky, and unique pieces, but they also have some more classic staples I think a lot of people would enjoy. And I also want to point out that they have both gold and silver jewelry. I know a lot of the jewelry that I get is gold, and I actually got a comment on one of my other videos that was sponsored by Ana Luisa saying, hey, like, I love their jewelry, but I'm more of a silver person. They do have silver jewelry, so you really can find anything for anybody on their website. And Ana Luisa did send me a couple of pieces to share with you all. So first is this ring. This is the May ring, and I absolutely love this. I actually, the last time I worked with Ana Luisa, got the May necklace, and that was in the pink shade. I think there's two different shades of blue, the green and the pink. And when I saw that they had like ring versions of the necklace, I knew I had to get one. But for the ring, I decided to go with the green one, and like I said, they have a few different colors, so I feel like if you know someone that has a favorite color, they would wear a bit more colorful jewelry. I feel like this is a good option as a gift. And another piece I got from them is this bracelet. This is the Jill bracelet, and it has these two hoops that kind of connect, and it's just very delicate, very dainty, and I absolutely love it. I feel like it's such my style, and I love that the two hoops that kind of connect are two different textures. I think it adds a little bit more interest to the bracelet. And then the final thing that they sent me are these earrings. These are the Oshi earrings, and I think these are so stunning. They're very small, again, very dainty and delicate, but they have the nice star detailing with the little gem in the center, and I've said this so many times, but I just am so drawn to things with stars and moons in them, so I absolutely love these and feel like I'm going to wear these quite a bit, especially like around the holiday season. I feel like these are a very festive type of earring. But like I was saying, Ana Luisa offers such a variety of styles and designs in their jewelry, so if you're looking for any gift ideas for anyone in your life, I can guarantee you will find something on their website for them. And Ana Luisa is currently running some sales for the holiday season, so make sure you check the link at the top of the description to check out their website. They have discounts of up to 35% off on their jewelry, so I highly recommend taking advantage of that great sale and finding something for either yourself or a loved one this holiday season. But thank you so much to my favorites over at Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video, and now we can get into my 2023 favorites. Let's chat about music first, because that's just one of the things I'm the most excited to talk about. So I have my laptop here with all of my notes for this video, so if you see me looking down, that's why. I feel like in years past, I have literally gone through and mentioned every single album that I was listening to in a year, and we're not going to do that this year. I definitely want to highlight some of the albums that I was really loving this year, but I mainly want to focus on like my top 5 albums of the year. I thought that that could be fun. Kind of make a little countdown, add a little bit more pressure to figure out what my ranking of the albums of the year are. But I do have some albums that I kind of want to just quickly like mention as some of my other favorites from the year. So first of all, we have the 3 solo albums from BTS members that came out this year. We have Face by Jimin, Golden by Jungkook, and Layover by Taeyoung. I also want to shout out Calico by Ryan Beatty and Aurora by Daisy Jones and the Six. And funnily enough, a holiday album, Fruitcake by Sabrina Carpenter. I genuinely feel like I'm going to be listening to these songs all year, especially Cindy Lou Who. That song goes so hard, and I don't care if I'm listening to that in June. It's fine. But let's get into the top 5, shall we? I feel like these aren't necessarily ranked. These are just like the 5 albums that I was for sure listening to the most this year. So the first one I want to mention is The Good Witch by Macy Peters. So Macy Peters is an artist that I've been listening to for a really long time. I think her very first song came out, I want to say, in like 2017, maybe 2018, and I was listening to it. I remember a YouTuber, Zoe Sugg, Zoella, you know the one, she like mentioned the song in a video, and of course my brain was like, oh, if Zoe Sugg likes it, I'm going to like it, and I did. It all worked out. But basically I've been following Macy as an artist for all of these years, and The Good Witch, this album, I think it's her second full-length album, is so good. Her first like debut album was really good as well, but this one, the storytelling within this album is incredible, and that's something that I love. It's why I love Taylor Swift so much, because within her songs and within her album, she's always telling a story or certain stories, and this whole album is a story from start to finish. I'm someone that, especially when you're listening to an album for the first time, you have to listen to it from start to finish in order. You can't skip anything, and you have to go in order. But this is an album that I don't even really shuffle that much. Like, I have to listen to it in order because of the story she's telling, this journey and this kind of relationship or relationships that she went through, and just the arc of the entire story throughout this album is so incredible to follow. And Macy's an artist where she has songs that are a little bit more silly and upbeat and fun and just get stuck in your head, and like I said, are just a bit silly goofy, but then she also has some songs that are so emotional and so devastating. She can really do it all. There also was a deluxe version of this album that came out like a couple months ago, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't listened to the new songs as much as the original album, so I don't really know my favorites from the deluxe album with the new like 6 new songs on there, but I can tell you some of my favorites from like the original album. All right, can I narrow down a top 3 for this album? It's gonna be very difficult. I think, okay, definitely History of Man, which is the final track on the album, the closing track. It is the perfect ending to the album. And I think Wendy and Watch are my other 2 favorites. I think that's my top 3, but honestly, the whole album is just so good. Also The Good Witch, the first song on the album, but I could basically just list all of the songs from this album, but it's just so incredible, and I feel like this album came out earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it when it first came out, but then over the summer sometime, I just had like a revelation about it, and I became obsessed with it, and now it's probably one of my favorite albums that I've ever heard, you know? I love it so much. So definitely a favorite of the year. Another favorite of the year is, of course, Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. Olivia is just also so incredible. She is someone that, again, has a lot of like fun songs and songs that get stuck in your head. She creates such catchy, good pop songs, but then also on the other side of it, she also creates really emotional songs. I feel like that's a common theme with my favorite albums of the year. All of these artists do that, and they all do it so well. But I was really nervous with Guts coming out because Olivia's first album, Sour, is an incredible first album, and there was so much hype with her around that initial release, and all of her, like her first single, Driver's License, took off so much that I feel like there was so much pressure for a second album, and I feel like it lived up to it. I feel like it is just as good as Sour, and I absolutely love it. So, what are my favorites? I feel like this is going to be the hard part of talking about the music, is picking my favorites from these albums right now. Because I know what my top 3 was when the album first came out, but I feel like right now, if I had to choose a top 3, I feel like it would be The Grudge, Logical, and Love is Embarrassing. Love is Embarrassing has had a glow up for me. It wasn't like super high on my ranking when the album first came out, but now I'm obsessed with it, and I've just been listening to it on repeat recently, so that is definitely a favorite for me. But yeah, again, just such a good album from start to finish, and it makes me so excited to see what Olivia continues to do, because I feel like that fear of what her second album was going to be like, was it going to live up to Sour? Obviously, no need to worry about that. So now it's just like, I'm just excited to see what she does next and what her third and fourth and fifth albums are gonna sound like. Okay, next up, I feel like this may be kind of a cheat to mention this in my like top albums of the year, because it's technically the deluxe album that got released this year, and it's like 4 new songs, the rest of the album's the same, but I have to mention it, and that's Emails I Can't Send Forward by Sabrina Carpenter. So Emails I Can't Send initially was released last year, but the deluxe album Emails I Can't Send Forward came out this year, and I just think that that is so smart to have it be forward instead of deluxe. Like, it keeps that email format. I just think that that's so cool. I love little details like that when artists do that. But Emails I Can't Send, genuinely, I think is probably one of my top albums of all time. I know I just said it about Guts and The Good Witch as well, but I genuinely mean it with this one. I listen to this album all the time, and I feel like a lot of times with albums, I listen to them a lot when they first come out, and then eventually over time I stop listening to it. That does not happen with this album, and the deluxe edition of this album releasing just ignited my love for it even more and has just kept that going and continued to make me listen to it all the time. So Emails I Can't Send Forward, the 4 new songs, Opposite, Feather, Lonesome, and Things I Wish You Said, are all incredible. I think my favorite has to be Feather. That song is just incredible, and I'm so glad that she's like chosen it as a single, and it has a music video, and it's just getting so much love and hype, and I think it is so deserved. It is such a good pop song. I'm obsessed with it. But I think my other favorite is Things I Wish You Said. That song is very emotional, and I also feel like, again, this is an album that tells a story from start to finish, and I feel like Decode was the perfect closer. So when we got more songs with the deluxe version, I was like, oh no, like now Decode isn't the closing track. But Things I Wish You Said is also a incredible closing track, and I think also makes sense. Like, you can tell that she didn't just add songs to the album to make a deluxe version for funsies. Like, there's actually intention behind the songs that she chose, and I love that. So incredible, has somehow made the Emails I Can't Send album even better with these 4 songs, and I just love Sabrina Carpenter so much. I just think that she is so talented, so great, and again, very excited to see what she does going forward, what her next album's gonna sound like. And I'm also just so happy that Sabrina Carpenter is getting a lot of love and praise and attention right now. I'm so excited to see that, especially knowing what she kind of went through a couple of years ago. If y'all remember that whole fiasco. And I'm just glad a lot of people have kind of realized, like, hey, maybe hating her for dating the same guy as somebody else wasn't ideal, wasn't the cool move. So I'm just really happy that she's getting a lot of praise. She's on tour with Taylor Swift. Just incredible. So proud of her, and just love the album so much. Anyways, we should move on. I could talk about Sabrina Carpenter forever. But speaking of Taylor Swift, we all know the other 2 albums. I mean, Taylor Swift released 2 re-releases this year. Who's surprised that those are the 2 albums I have left to talk about? So over the summer, Taylor Swift re-released Speak Now. We now have Speak Now, Taylor's version. We have new vault tracks as well. And of course, with every Taylor Swift release, it's going to automatically be a favorite. It's been so much fun with these re-releases to kind of feel like you're going back in time and relive these eras, relive these album releases. And it kind of like brings me back to all of these memories of when the albums were originally released. Like, I remember so distinctly when Speak Now originally came out, listening to that CD in the car with my sister and my mom, because my sister was also obsessed with Speak Now. I mean, she's still obsessed with Taylor Swift, but I remember this was the album that like really got her obsessed with her, and so we listened to it all the time, and I don't know, it just brought back a lot of memes from that time. Speak Now, I feel like, is such like a pivotal album, I feel like, for so many Swifties and for Taylor Swift. I feel like her songwriting obviously was incredible and so showcased in this album because it was her first album, completely written all by her. There were no co-writers, it was just her. And I feel like also it's just such an emotional album because when you are a 19-year-old girl, you are going through it. I don't know what it is about age 19, but there's a lot to unpack about that age, and I feel like, you know, we all experience that, but Taylor Swift is experiencing so many other things on top of what it was like to just be a 19-year-old girl. There were so many other things happening to her, and so I feel like this album is just such an emotional album. I do feel like that's where the re-record doesn't quite live up to the original for me, just in the sense of I feel like those emotions aren't really there. Obviously, like, she's still emotional and impacted by these things, but I just feel like, you know, there's been some time in between her writing this album and creating this album initially that some of those emotions aren't as raw, and I feel like that kind of can come across in the re-recordings, but also, like, I wouldn't want her to recreate, like, the shaky breath in Last Kiss, for example, because that would seem forced and fake. So I don't know what I wanted her to do with this album. It's definitely not my favorite re-record. I just feel like there are so many changes, but there's also, like, there's no way she could have replicated those emotions. So I don't know what I wanted her to do. But I still love Speak Now, and I think for so many people, it's an album that means so much to them. I feel like this was such a pivotal moment, like I said, for Swifties and Taylor Swift. So I feel like it's just an album, even if it's not like one of your favorite Taylor Swift albums, it still holds a very special place in your heart. So obviously I've had my like original favorites from Speak Now since 2010. I love Enchanted, I love Last Kiss, I love Dear John, and also Long Live. And mine. I think that's my top 5, but it changes every day. But getting into the like vault tracks for Speak Now, I feel like I'm just gonna share my ranking because 1, you might be curious if you're also a Swiftie, but 2, I feel like my ranking is completely opposite to like everybody else's. So my favorite vault track from Speak Now is Foolish One. Who's saying that besides me? Probably not a lot of people. So Foolish One's my favorite, and then I think When Emma Falls in Love is my second favorite. Then Timeless. Timeless feels like peak Taylor Swift songwriting, storytelling vibes. It feels so 2009, 2010 Taylor Swift to me, which is why I love it. I know me in 2010, if we had Timeless, would have been obsessed with that song, and I still am. So Foolish One, When Emma Falls in Love, Timeless. Then I Can See You's probably next. Then Castles Crumbling, then Electric Touch. I feel like Castles Crumbling being so low on my vault track ranking is upsetting a lot of people, so I'm gonna apologize in advance. But obviously Speak Now Taylor's version is a favorite of the year. Anything Taylor Swift does is a favorite. And continuing on that train of thought, we obviously have to talk about 1989 Taylor's version. I brought over my CD. I still don't have a Speak Now Taylor's version CD. I was really holding out for signed Speak Now CDs, and they never came, so I just need to buy myself a normal CD, but got a 1989 one. Only one. I typically get trapped into the different editions and variations. Me and my 8 folklore CDs say hello, but I only got one of 1989, so be proud of me. She was financially responsible this time. But yeah, 1989 Taylor's version, obsessed. I love 1989. It's one of my favorite Taylor Swift albums. I think it's one of her best albums. I just love it so, so much. And so to, again, kind of relive that era, relive the album release, just get to hear these songs again, but for the first time, it was just such an emotional experience. Again, love this album so much. So just so happy to have Taylor's version. And I think like the vault tracks for 1989 Taylor's version are some of the best vault tracks she's released. I don't know if they top Reds. I feel like Reds are, to me, like leagues ahead of the other vault tracks, but I feel like 1989 is right behind Reds, or like on the same level. Like they are also incredible. What's my top 5 originally from 1989, the original songs? It's kind of hard because I love every song except for Bad Blood. I mean, we do have the one with Kendrick Lamar, which I much prefer, but yeah, Bad Blood is probably my one skip from 1989, but like it's still a catchy bop, and I actually think Bad Blood, Taylor's version, I like more than the original. But top 5 from 1989 originally, Clean and You Are in Love are my top 2 always and forever. And then I would put New Romantics in there, Out of the Woods. And then what's the 5th spot? It's always the 5th spot that I struggle with. I feel like it's either All You Had to Do Was Stay or I Know Places. The Taylor's version of I Know Places, incredible. So good. So good. And then my ranking of the vault tracks, I think Now That We Don't Talk might be my favorite, but Is It Over Now is like, they're like on the same level to me. It kind of switches depending on the day, but those are definitely my 2 favorites. And then after those 2, I would put Say Don't Go. Then I would put, can I say this word on YouTube? SLUT exclamation point. Can I say that? Is that allowed? I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. And then I would put Suburban Legends as last. But also like Suburban Legends is last, but still so good. Love it so much. 1989. You will always be that girl. So those were all of the albums that I was listening to throughout the year, but very like rapid fire, want to list off some of the songs that are some of my favorite songs of the year, the ones I kind of had on repeat. So Homesick by Noah Kahan was definitely one that I listened to a lot this year. What I Was Made For by Billie Eilish, Take Two by BTS, Silk Chiffon by Muna and Phoebe Bridgers. I'm just realizing I've never said Muna out loud. Is that how you even say their band name? Now I'm overthinking it. Anyway, moving on. The Alcott by The National featuring Taylor Swift, Kaleidoscope by Chappell Roan. I apologize if that's not the correct pronunciation. Labor by Paris Paloma, and Ceilings by Lizzie McAlpine, but also just like Lizzie McAlpine as an artist I was listening to a lot this year. love her work. And then of course some songs that Taylor released from the vault, or like Taylor's version of certain songs. All the Girls You Loved Before, Safe and Sound, Eyes Open, If This Was a Movie, but also probably my two favorites that we got either added to streaming this year or released this year, Hits Different and You're Losing Me. I'm obsessed with those songs. Very different vibes, but both kind of hurt my feelings, and I love them both. So those are all of the favorite albums and songs from the year. So now we can move on to some shows and movies. So the first show I feel like I have to mention because I mentioned the album that is from the show. Even though I do have problems with the show, I have to mention it, and that's Daisy Jones and the Six. So this is a show based off of the book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is one of my favorite books of all time. So I was super excited about the show, and I feel like overall I enjoyed the show. Like I said, I feel like I just have to mention it because the album that we got from this fake band in the show, I was obsessed with this year. So if you don't know what the show's about, it's following this band, Daisy Jones and the Six, and you see kind of dual timelines. You see the current timeline where the members of this band are giving an interview about what happened back when they were popular, and most of the show is seeing like the flashbacks of when they formed this band, gained all this popularity and attention, and then what caused them to break up, because no one ever really knew why the band itself broke up and what caused that to happen. So this is the first time that they're sharing that story. I just really enjoyed the story itself. Like I said, the book is one of my favorite books of all time. So I enjoyed the story. I enjoy the characters. I love how flawed these characters are. It makes for a very interesting story. And there definitely were some changes made in the show from the book, but I think a lot of the changes I did like for the most part. I will say I didn't love the way that they changed the ending in the show a little bit. Didn't love that. Also, some of my other complaints are with like the casting choices for the show. Not only just like the actual acting ability with some of these people, but also just like the actors themselves. There's a lot of not great people who were a part of this show. However, Sam Claflin and Riley Keough, if that's how you say her last name, were so incredible. Such like the highlights of the show for me, and I'm so glad that they're getting like so many awards for the show. I just think they deserve all the praise. Love Sam Claflin so much. And the show, whether you like it or not, gave us this iconic TikTok, and for that and that alone, I'm so thankful that this show exists. And yeah, overall, I did like the show. Like I said, the music from the show was also incredible and probably like the highlight for me. And also just seeing these characters come to life is always just such a cool thing with book adaptations. So I did enjoy the Daisy Jones and the Six show, but I definitely enjoyed these other two shows a lot more. So one of my other favorites is season 2 of Heartstopper. I adore the Heartstopper TV show. I love the graphic novels as well. And this show just captures the story, the characters, the vibes, the tone of the graphic novels so well. I think it really shows that Alice Oseman, the creator of the story, is involved in the show, and it pays to have the creators of these books, the authors of these books, involved in the shows. People take notes. But I love that with the show, we're able to expand so much on certain storylines and characters, and we see a lot more from the side characters. We get new side characters, new stories. I just love it so much, and I still think about the last like 10 minutes of the final episode of season 2 like daily. There's just some painful and emotional and beautiful scenes in the last episode of the season, and I think about it all the time. And I just loved it. I feel like season 2 is when we start to cover a lot more of the more emotional aspects of the Heartstopper story. I feel like people often talk about the more wholesome, cute moments of the series, whether that's in the books or the show, but it definitely takes a bit of a turn, and mental health and the focus on that and Charlie's journey with that is definitely a focus, and it can be a little bit difficult and emotional to watch, and season 2 is definitely when we start to get into that, but I think it was handled so beautifully as it is in the graphic novels, and very emotional to see, but so well done. I just love the show. I love these characters so much, and so to continue to see this show be so incredible and just really faithful to the books but also doing things differently, it's just so incredible. So of course season 2 of Heartstopper is a favorite. And then the other show I have to mention, I low-key forgot was this year because it was all the way back in January. That feels like so long ago, and that's The Last of Us. I feel like I haven't said those words together in a long time. But this show, it's based off of a video game. It's like a apocalyptic kind of story. That doesn't sound like a word, apocalyptic. Anyway, you're following a character, Joel, who is given this task of bringing this character, Ellie, across the country. I don't remember where they're traveling to, but he's bringing her somewhere because she's actually immune. So they want to use her to figure out a cure for this apocalypse that's happening. It's very character driven. It's really just following Joel and Ellie and their journey, not only across the country, but also their journey as people and them forming this connection. I just love the show so much. I kind of forgot how much I liked it until I was planning for this video, and now all I want to do is rewatch it, even though it is emotionally devastating. And I knew like week to week what was going to be happening. I never played the video game that this is based on, but I knew the story of the first game. So week to week, like going into the episode, I knew what was going to happen, but it was still emotionally devastating every time. And it was really fun though. I watched it with my mom, who did not know the story, didn't know anything that was going to happen. So to watch it with her and see her reactions was very fun. We were both going through it, but that makes me, okay, I'm gonna say excited, but I'm also terrified. I'm mostly terrified for season 2, but I'm excited because I don't really know the storyline of the second game of The Last of Us. I know one thing because people kept making jokes about this thing that happens in game 2 back when the show was being released, and I just put 2 and 2 together. So I know one thing, unfortunately. I wish I didn't know, but I know. But the main storyline of the second game, I don't really know what's happening. So I'm excited to go into season 2, not knowing week to week what's going to happen. I'm going to be so stressed. I'm already stressed thinking about it. I'm terrified for what is going to happen, but I'm excited to go into it not knowing every single episode what exactly is going to be happening. But yeah, season 1 was incredible. I definitely need to rewatch it now that I'm talking about it. I'm remembering how much I loved it. I loved the acting. The acting was incredible. It was just so good and so well done. I feel like I'm sure a lot of people who played the game weren't happy with certain things because I'm sure there were changes and, you know, being nitpicky about it like I am with like book adaptations, but I feel like for the most part, I feel like most people were happy with it and it was pretty well received, and I think it was well deserving of that. I thought it was incredible. Now getting into movies, of all of the movies that I watched this year, which honestly, I only really rewatch movies, so there were a ton of new things that I watched, but of the new things I watched, I have 3 that I want to mention, and I'm sure one of them is going to be showing up in a lot of people's favorites of the year lists, whether that's just like your personal lists or just people creating content, whatever it is. It's going to be popping up a lot, and everybody say it with me. Barbie. Yeah, I mean, obviously Barbie, incredible. Nothing that I could say hasn't been said already. Just so good, and such a magical movie watching experience. The vibes within the movie theater going and seeing this movie, there was nothing like it. It was just so incredible, and I can't wait to rewatch it at some point and fully allow myself to cry. I mean, I laughed a lot and I cried in the movie theater, but when I'm in public, I try to reel it in with the crying, but I want to watch it in the comfort of my home where I can fully sob. But yeah, so incredible. And just like the impact that this movie had, like culturally this year, was so incredible to see. And I really hope that that shows these people making these decisions on what movies get made. I don't know how it all works. But I just hope that that shows that we need more movies like this. And I don't mean more movies about nostalgic childhood toys, which I know is how some people in these positions are interpreting it. I more so mean more movies about women, for women, because women are great. So hopefully we get more movies like this, but this was incredible and just such a powerful moment this year, and I absolutely love the movie. There definitely are some critiques that I've seen of it and some that I agree with, but just like an incredible experience overall, and loved it so much. And speaking of Barbie, of course I have to mention the real life Barbie, Taylor Swift. We got the Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie, which was again a similar kind of vibe in the movie theater, just like good vibes. Went with such a fun group of people to see the movie. It was just so fun, and being able to relive the concert was just a very emotional experience. Again, another movie I need to watch in the comfort of my home so I can fully scream the lyrics and also cry a lot. I did cry and sing a little bit in the theater, but I kept it, you know, under control. That won't be happening when I watch it at home. And yeah, it was just really cool to experience a concert movie from her in theaters, because I don't think she's ever done a theatrical release for any of her concert movies before. So it was a fun, unique experience. I have my popcorn bucket behind me. I still don't know what to use it for, but it's just always there with me. And the third and final movie I wanted to chat about, I actually feel like I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it, which is such a shame, and that's Nimona. It's based off of a graphic novel that I read last year, I think, and also really loved that. I love the story, I love the characters. You're following Nimona as she becomes a sidekick to a character who a lot of people assume is a villain, that he's not a good guy, but it turns out that he's not really a villain, and he sets out to kind of expose the real villains who are kind of painted as like the superheroes in this world. It's all very backwards, and the movie is so good. They captured the graphic novel so well. Even if there were changes and things that they took out and added in, it was still relatively faithful to the graphic novel, but also it just captured the whole vibe and the characters and the story and what was important to the story so well. It was so funny, so heartwarming and emotional. I was crying, I was laughing. It was so perfect. It felt like the way that I felt reading the graphic novel was how I felt watching the movie, and the animation style was also so cool, and I think also fit the story and the characters so well. It was just so good, and I feel like it's gonna be now like a new comfort movie for me. I've only watched it the one time earlier this year, but I feel like it is a movie that I'm gonna turn to and watch over and over again. It was so good, and if you haven't read the graphic novel or seen the movie or both, I highly recommend consuming it in some way. So that's all like the media stuff that I was loving this year. Now we can kind of get into the general, more lifestyle-y type of things. So first, one of my favorites is something that has kind of made a comeback this year, and that's claw clips. So I have a few different types here. I feel like these are the ones I use the most. These are like the most like, just dropped it. These are the most like traditional common ones that you see a lot. I have a bunch of like this style, but then I have this one that's a little bit more funky, and then I have this one that my sister actually just gave me, and it's flat, which is kind of nice because if you're sitting up against something, it's nice to have like not something super bulky, especially in the car, because technically you shouldn't wear these when you're in the car, because if you get in an accident and it smashes into your head, bad. Don't wear them in the car, kids. But this is a little bit flatter, so it's not like digging into your head when you're in the car, and also just like in general, this doesn't quite hold all my hair because my hair is a bit long. However, I think once I do get a haircut, my hair is a bit shorter, this will work a lot better, but I do really like these ones as well. I just have loved that these have come back, especially because my hair is so long. These have been really good to actually get my hair up and out of my face, because putting it up in a ponytail doesn't really do anything. When your hair is that long, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. But yeah, love these. Love that these have made a comeback, and I've now got quite the collection. I also have a jewelry favorite. Now, I know these are from Ana Luisa. I know this video is sponsored by them, but they don't know that I'm saying this. This would be a favorite regardless. Of course, all of the jewelry that I received from them this year, I've worn a lot, and they're all favorites, but these particular earrings, these are these gold little small hoop earrings I have worn so much this year. I believe these are the low small earrings. I can link them down below. I have just worn these so much. I've had a bit of a hoop earring moment this year, and these are perfect because they're not too big of hoops, but they're a little bit more fun, and I don't know, I've been wearing these so much this year. Now I do have a few clothing favorites. I have 3 things, and they're all sweatshirts. I just live to be comfortable. So one of them is actually in my laundry basket. I basically do laundry, and this is the first thing that I wear once it's clean. So it gets dirty pretty quickly, and I got toothpaste on it, so you don't want to see it, but it's my Taylor Swift Eras Tour sweatshirt. I basically live in this. Like I said, it's the first thing that I wear once it's clean. I just love it so much. It's so soft, so comfortable, and it's a bit oversized on me, so it's just like the perfect sweatshirt. I love it so much, plus my sister has the same one, so we match, and it's very fun. But I also have another Taylor Swift themed sweatshirt that was actually a gift from my friend Darian. It's another Taylor Swift Eras Tour sweatshirt, but it's in this like peachy pink color, and actually the coolest thing about it is that on the sleeve, if I can get it to cooperate, it says Gillette Stadium and then the 2 dates that I went to for the concerts. So it's not only just like a favorite because it's such a thoughtful and considerate gift from one of my best friends, but also just like such a special thing to have as like a memory for the concert. And so I've worn this a lot. It's also very soft. I don't know, I think this might have been like an Etsy purchase. If I can find it online, I can try and link it as well, but I know a lot of different Etsy stores make things like this. And then my other sweatshirt favorite, this is just sweatshirt favorites, is this burnt orange sweatshirt, which I'm sure you've seen me wearing in so many videos. I think there's like a section on my YouTube channel where like a bunch of videos in a row, this is what I'm wearing in the thumbnail. But it's just a burnt orange, like a little oversized sweatshirt. It's from Old Navy. Old Navy's got the cozy things. I'm actually gonna expose myself for a minute. I'm wearing sweatpants right now. Gray sweatpants from Old Navy. Also a favorite of the year because they're so comfortable. So if you're looking for some comfy clothes, Old Navy. I also wanted to mention my bullet journal for the year, specifically like the brand of the bullet journal. This is from Notebook Therapy, and this is the first year I tried something that wasn't Archer and Olive or like a journal from Michaels. So I was a little nervous like branching out and trying something different, but I really love it. I love the design. I love like all of their designs and like the color choices that they have for a bunch of their journals. And I went with them for 2023 because Archer and Olive, as much as I love their journals, like the quality of them is great. I've been really struggling to find designs from them that I like the past like couple of years, and when I do occasionally like one, it sells out and then goes out of stock and then never comes back in stock, so it's a pain to get the ones that you like. So I'm really happy that I found another brand that I really enjoy, and I also got my 2024 bullet journal from Notebook Therapy, so excited to set that up, excited to share that with you all. But yeah, definitely happy that I found another brand that I can trust and buy from. And then the kind of last like lifestyle miscellaneous thing that I have is my Stanley, which also has a bit of lipstick on the straw, so ignore that. But yeah, I know that these have been like a trendy thing this year. I'm sure the trend is over. I feel like people are already over the Stanleys. However, I love mine, and I wanted it genuinely because I wanted a bigger water bottle, and the fact that it had a handle I really liked. I had a Yeti water bottle that was like 30 something ounces and didn't have a handle, so this is different, and I still like will use both. I think they're gonna have like different purposes, plus like the one bad thing about the Stanley, because of the straw, which I like, it's not like completely closed, so it will spill. So I feel like the Yeti will be good if I don't want my water to spill. So yeah, it does serve a different purpose from my other water bottle, and I actually use this like every single day. I have this with me all the time. I genuinely have an emotional support water bottle. I do not go anywhere without it, and I love it so much. I have the light pink shade. It's just stunning, and I love it so much. Cheers. So the last category for this video is just events, things that happened this year that were definitely standouts and some of my favorite memories from the year. So of course, all of the concerts that I went to this year were highlights. So naturally, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. Went and cried and had the best time ever. I saw her at Gillette Night 2 and Night 3. Yes, I was in attendance of the rainiest rain show to ever rain show, and that is no joke. I was standing in a puddle of water like 3 to 4 inches deep the whole night, but it was worth it. But I also went the next night, which was not raining at all. A much better weather experience, but both shows were incredible and just such special memories. And I just love Taylor Swift. There's literally a picture of me being so overwhelmed when she came out on stage. Like, I don't know how to describe that feeling, like the feeling I felt when I saw her on stage. It's so incredible. And the show itself is so amazing. The choreography, the set list, all of the backup singers and dancers, just everything about it is a production, and it is so insane. So good. So absolutely loved that. Of course, if that hasn't been obvious from this whole video, how many times I've mentioned Taylor Swift. I also saw Louis Tomlinson this year. I actually went to 3 Louis Tomlinson concerts. I'm not really sure how that happened, but it was fun every single time. The group that like kind of kept going to all of the shows was what made it so special. It was just so fun to be with like the friends that I went with. I also saw 5 Seconds of Summer this year, the first time in a few years that I'd seen them, so that was really exciting. And I also saw the Jonas Brothers on my birthday, which was very special, very nostalgic, and just very fun. So those are the shows that I went to. I also attended a Patriots game this year, and it was the first time I'd ever gone to a Patriots game, which was really exciting. I've wanted to go to a Patriots game for years, and I mean, ideally it would have been better to have gone the like 20 or so years that we were actually good. We would have maybe had a chance of seeing them win, because we don't do that. We don't win anymore. We actually won our last game that we played, but that was a weird situation. We don't win. Patriots, not slaying. So obviously we lost the game I was at, and it was, you know, a bit of a bummer, but it was still really cool to be in that environment. And also, like, I just wanted to go to a Patriots game for so long. So it was really cool to finally do that this year. And then finally, I want to mention a couple of the trips that I went on this year, all very local trips. They were all within New England, so did not travel very far, but went on a bachelorette weekend this summer. for my sister's best friend, who's basically like another older sister for me. So that was really fun. Such a fun weekend, such a good group to hang out with. And also their wedding happened this year as well. So that was really fun, very special, very beautiful. Also, I want to mention the little vacation that me and my family went on. We went to Bar Harbor in Maine back in June, and we were only there for a weekend, and it rained the whole weekend pretty much. It just rained in New England, I feel like all of May, June, and July. So like, surprise, surprise, it was raining, but we made the best of it. It was still really fun, and I feel like me and my family like haven't gone on a family vacation in a long time, so it was really, really fun. And Bar Harbor itself is just such a cute little place. It was so much fun walking around, going out to all the shops, and the sights there are just so beautiful. So definitely a place I'd like to go back to, and hopefully the weather will be a bit nicer. But yeah, regardless of the weather, it was still a very special trip and definitely a highlight of the year. But we've made it to the end. I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been talking about my favorites for so long, but those are all the things that I was loving throughout the year, and how lucky am I to have so many things that I want to mention. And I'm sure that this isn't even everything that I was loving and all of the special things that happened to me this year. So I'm just feeling very lucky, very grateful. I would love to know in the comments below if there's anything you were loving this year, whether that's shows or books, movies, any just general lifestyle things, any fun events you went to this year that stand out to you. I would just love to chat about some of your highlights and memories and favorite things from the year in the comments. And also, once again, thank you so much to Luisa for sponsoring this video. Don't forget, you can check the link at the top of the description to check out their sales of up to 35% off this holiday season. But yeah, I think that that's gonna wrap up my 2023 favorites video. I'm so grateful for another year of ups and downs, but so many great things that have happened and have come into my life. I just feel very lucky. And I also, cherish this community that we have. The fact that I'm able to sit here and talk about all of these things and have people listen is just something that I cherish so much, and I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate you all being here, whether you watch this video or any of the videos in the past year. I just appreciate and love you all so much. But thank you all so much for watching my 2023 favorites video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.